to the Veganoso YouTube channel. Today we'll be talking about the difference between blending and juicing. It's one of the most common questions, especially if you're just starting out adding more vegetables and fruit in your diet, or if you're moving into a plant-based diet. I've got a simple apple, and I'm going to use this to show you the difference between blending it and juicing it. So the main difference is that if I want to basically use a blender, what I am going to do is to add the whole entire apple into the machine. Of course, I would have to use some liquid base. That usually could be something like water, it could be a vegetable milk, or it can be the juice. But the difference is that the whole entire fruit or vegetable goes into the machine and it retains the fiber. The fiber is a carbohydrate that is not absorbed by the body, and therefore it helps basically not making us hungry, and also it helps basically regulate our bowel. So if you got some problems with your bowel because you don't go to the toilet basically as often as you would like, fibers are a great way for that. So basically the whole thing, of course you will take away all these bits and pieces and the pits, etc. But basically everything goes in here. With regards to the juice, you will see that this one, there are different types. This is a slow juicer, has got two different vases, and that's because when we put the apple in here, the machine will divide the juice, so the liquid part, from the fiber. The fiber basically gets taken out from the basically liquid, whilst here everything is together. So there are pros and cons for both. With regards to the juice, the pro is that it's fundamentally sort of pre-digested because the fiber gets taken away, so it's very, very easy to basically drink it. The texture is great, and also if you want to feel lighter, a lot of people do detoxes. I'm not a fan of detox, I don't believe in detox, but for example, if you want something that is not going to be taxing on your stomach, juices are definitely a great choice. The problem with the juices are that it goes directly into your bloodstream fundamentally, so you may have a spike of sugar, especially if you use a lot of fruit rather than vegetables, and that's the reason why usually it's much better to drink green juices. So juices that are at least 80% vegetables and 20% fruit. Why? Because you do not want to add too much sugar into your bloodstream, cause this basically sugar spike, also because it can cause problems with regards to weight gain. On the other side, blending is great because it retains the fiber, but the texture can be a little bit unpleasant, especially if you got a blender that is not particularly powerful, so that the basically the product, the final result, which is usually called smoothie, is not very creamy. Some people don't like it. It's true that you can add more liquid, so you can add more water, you can add more vegetable milk to make it more liquidish, but because it has the fiber inside, it will never be as liquid as a juice. So fundamentally the difference between blending and juicing is blending retains the fiber, juicing doesn't. So basically it separates I call it the liquid part from the fiber. If you want to go for something that is not taxing on your digestive system, juicing is easier because the fiber is taken out, but this is not an excuse not to eat fibers. Fibers are extremely important for our intestine, and also because of the pH. It's much better to have an alkaline diet rather than a basic, so acidic diet fundamentally. So is one better than the other? The answer is no. It really depends on what you want to achieve and the reason why you would like to blend or you would like to juice. Personally, I think that the best option is to mix the two. So for example, what I do is I can get a smoothie in the morning, and that's because it retains the fiber, so it takes time for my stomach and for my bowel basically to digest it, and it means that I'm not going to be hungry very soon. In fact, if I get a smoothie and I put in, for example, oats, and I put in nuts, I put in superfoods, etc., into my smoothie, and if I drink it at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can easily have a snack, which is again some vegetables, or it can be some nuts, so almonds or pecans, etc., at something like 10:30 in the morning, and I'm not hungry. On the other side, if you use the juice in the morning, you may be hungrier. So the best thing would be to get a juice with something more solid, inside. So drinking the juice and get something else to eat. So what I do is basically I blend in the morning and then I use the juice in the afternoon, and that's because I tend to have a juice at around 3:30 in the afternoon, and I don't want my stomach to be bagged down by heavy digestion or this kind of things, because I will fall asleep, and if you're working in the afternoon, the last thing you want to do is to fall asleep at work. So I tend to consider the juice much easier to keep me basically plumped up and energized in the afternoon. Of course, it's a matter of personal choice. If you are starting out, I would suggest investing in a juicer. Why? Because it's easier, especially if you are not used to basically eating a lot of vegetables. At first, you may be a little bit daunted if you start with a blender, and that's because the blender retains the fiber. So it means that even if it basically breaks it down, the smoothie is still very dense, and when you are basically blending things like kale or blending things like spinaches or very fibrous ones like celery, it may be a little bit like, I don't like it. So the best thing is to ease you in little by little, and usually the juicer is much easier because it's taking the fiber out. Again, juicing is not a substitute for eating fibers. So it's not that you say, okay, fair enough, I've juiced it and I'm fine. No, of course it's all about a balanced diet. But to recap, the main difference between blending and juicing is that if you blend, you retain the fibers, so basically it takes more time to digest it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. If you juice, you separate the fiber from the liquid, and it's easier to digest it, but it may create a spike in the sugar in your system. And also, because it doesn't have the fiber and it's much easier for your stomach to digest it, you may experience hunger, so you want food, something solid, immediately after. Is one better than the other? As we said, the answer is no. It depends on the reason why you would like to blend or you would like to juice, and basically the results that you would like to achieve. Thank you so much for watching.